Prepare to be blindsided.
Ooh, wow. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Matt and Ivory show. And how you doing today, Matt?
Man, I'm doing good, man. How about yourself?
Man, I'm looking at them gas prices, bro. I'm looking at all the prices. All the prices are up today. And it's just so sad because, you know what? I went to fill up my gas tank today. And you know what? Normally it'd be about, 30 bucks or something like that. Now it's like 80 bucks, 90 bucks to fill up the car. And you have to ask the questions about these war bills because they're hitting hard at American, in terms of groceries, in terms of gas, just across the board. So we're all feeling this. And guess what? Trump cannot taco his way out of this war. No. He can't. And for those of you who don't know what taco means, that means Trump always chickens out. And he's already trying to find a way out of this, Matt. He's already trying to find a way out of this. You've heard him already say, well, the war should end. And I think he has no clue of what he's doing.
No, he's not. It's like watching an episode of Mr. Bean or something like that, or Inspector Gadget. And unfortunately for Donald Trump, there's no need for anybody else to get him out of this jam to help him solve the crime or anything like that, right? So it's like Scooby-Doo without the other people actually solving the mystery. And I think what happens with Trump is that he gets down this rabbit hole. And he's so used to people helping him, bailing him out, that I think he's getting himself into a deeper hole, which is probably one of the reasons why even his own daughter kind of cut ties with him after the first administration.
Oh, man. Yeah, I actually agree with that, and I think he has no idea what he's doing. He's in over his head. He's in over his skis. And honestly, he got talked into this. Obviously, Bibi Netanyahu talked him into this.
Yeah.
That he's in it. Guess who's the big beneficiary of this? It's Russia. Russia is the big beneficiary of this because one, the oil supply is kind of crazy right now. Russia is a major oil producer and they're beginning to receive more money because now they have to, pump more oil. So now they can attack Ukraine more. And it's just, they're the big recipients of this. It's almost like Trump is like a double agent. I really feel like Trump, our president, is compromised so much that he's working for Vladimir Putin. But don't take my word for it. Let's listen to what the voters have to say about how they feel about Trump just blindsiding them. Play the clip, Josh.
Your vote right now?
Well, between him and her, I thought he was the better choice, but honestly, I miss my Uncle Joe. I was a nobody and I was balling then. Now, I couldn't even tell you. I couldn't even show you $5 in my pocket.
We spoke to Trump voters here in Florida who are ticked off about the fact that the gas prices in the state have gone up by an average of about 60 cents within just a week.
I would just wish he'd keep up on his campaign promise and say he was going to put it under $3. He'd end that war so fast. But here it is, 5 years later, helping his buddy out get his more money. And then never mind charging us Americans all sorts of money for fuel that you just stole from Venezuela.
And those gas prices are getting higher because of volatile oil prices due to the war in Iran, a war that these Trump voters tell us they hope wraps up quickly.
If I could, speak to the president, I'd just encourage him to finish up this war and get us back to a safe world.
He's saying about for our safety, leave somebody alone, they won't bother you.
Hopefully this conflict over there will end, it's just unfortunate.
The overall vibe here at the gas pump amongst these Trump voters is they feel like the economy is not going well right now.
At the moment, I'm really out of work.
My hope is that it's temporary and it doesn't last for too long. The oil prices come back down. That's my hope.
Oh, my. That's why I hear the people saying, Matt, what's your take on that?
Usually, I know we joke about stuff like this, but, we cover the news daily. And when you start to get deep into the stuff, it's really frustrating. And I would say this, growing up, man, we used to always say, if somebody treats their family really bad, man, they're going to treat you bad too. And Trump treats his family and his voters in particular bad. So at this point, it doesn't matter if you say something, if you don't say something, even if you vote for him, he will screw you over. And they're just sitting there, they're sitting there waiting for a hope. Man, I just hope he ends the war, man. I hope. Bro, once he got the vote, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter what you hope. And like Trump said, and Caroline Levitt said months ago, you gave me a mandate. The American people gave me the House. They gave me the Senate. They gave me the White House. They gave me the mandate to do what I wanted to do, and I'm doing what you wanted me to do. That's going to be his kilo. You wanted me to do this. You wanted me to go to Iran. You wanted me to side with Putin. This is my presidency, and you wanted this.
Yeah, I agree. And this is how Trump treats his voters right now.
Oh, not the WWE.
I swear that's how he treats his voters right now, bro. Like disgusted with them, like literally disgusted. And I have no sympathy. I don't feel bad about the Trump voter at all. Now we're all suffering because of this, but you got to think about it, Matt. Go back to 2024. A lot of these people were very loud, proud, strong and wrong, and they just didn't want to vote for Kamala for whatever reason. I mean, you know what the reasons are, by the way. But they just they couldn't bring themselves to vote for it, even though they knew that this man was not going to do nothing for them. He was going to run on grievances. He was going to run on hate. He was going to run on just, Trump 1.0 was more Trump 2.0. That's what we see. It's just the worst version of it. So I don't feel bad about them at all. But I will say this for the rest of us who did not vote for this. This is what we really should be spending this money, because it's been reported that the United States military, they're spending $1 billion a day. I think it's probably way more than that.
I've heard $5 billion.
They're spending that. Yeah, it's crazy. And I think if we flip that money, and this is what we could actually do with that money. And I love what Senator Ruben Diego said. He said, every day this war continues, taxpayers lose another $1 billion. Imagine what that money could do if we invested it in our schools, healthcare, families, instead of another foreign conflict. Matt?
Well, I'm going to say this, man. I want you to kind of go down this thing with me, man. I thought about this quite a bit. Let's take the time out to think about why they would be willing to fund the war but not fund schools. Let's think about it. You know why? Because they're getting paid off the war. That's what it comes down to. When you start these wars, right? Even, when you start these wars, you get a lot of money. Dick Cheney did that in Iraq. It wasn't this type of money, but hey, if I send money to schools and to the States, I don't get no money from that. But if I start a war, I send money to to Israel, they're gonna push some little money back on the side for me so I can get away with making money. It's all about making money. The business of America is what?
To make money.
You have to make money. It's business. So I think that's what it comes down to. We do these things because somebody is getting paid. These people won't get paid off these schools the same way they can get paid off war.
Yeah, I agree. War is definitely profitable. The sad part about it is Americans, we're just so distracted. We just keep voting off culture wars and vibes and stuff like that. So we keep finding ourselves electing these people because let's go back to history. I always like to look at the big picture view here. Let's say Bill Clinton, and again, this is not about a Democrat Republican thing. This is just the facts. Okay, I'm just reporting the facts. When we had Bill Clinton in office, did we have a war? I'm just asking. No, we didn't have a war, and we had a surplus. When George Bush got into, he got elected, did we have a war? Yes, we had a war, right? And where was the deficit and the surplus? We didn't have none of that stuff. Then when Barack Obama got into office, did we have a war?
No, not a major one.
We didn't have a war. We had wars, obviously, Iraq and Afghanistan, because Bush had led us into Iraq and Afghanistan. But then, you know what? Those wars were winding down under President Obama. Then guess who got elected into office? Trump. Okay. Did we have wars with Trump? Not so much, but he was causing a lot of conflict. Then Biden gets elected, no wars. And then Trump gets elected. Guess what? We got a war again. We're in war. So I just believe that Republicans, they are for war. They just for war. I don't care what nobody say. These people are just warmongers, a lot of them. And now they just want to run up the score with war. Because to your point, Matt, it's profitable when you're running wars. You're causing you have to buy military equipment and all the other stuff. That's why they increased the budget for the military, I think, by like extra $500 billion. You like, why? That money could go to schools and roads and bridges and other things, but they don't want to do that.
All true.
All true. Facts. So moving along, we're going to talk a little bit about the next phase of what we're talking about. This is the dangerous part of war because now we have reports that said that Vladimir Putin, right? Let's go to that one. Let's go to that one. Vladimir Putin is actually helping providing intelligence to Iran on the location of U.S. forces. That's what the sources say. Now, Matt, I want to hear your take on this, because we heard it all the time. Trump says all the time how much Iran, Russia and him and they got this relationship, and Putin is his friend and all that. It doesn't seem to look like it from here.
No, I think you made an interesting point at the start of the show. You said Trump is a double agent, and I think, or is an agent of Russia. And I think the thing about it, what makes Trump so effective is that he doesn't think he is. That's the most effective way to turn somebody when they don't think they've been turned. They don't think so. They don't think they've been compromised. So Trump really just probably not think he's been compromised. He not in the way that he thinks. So I think with all of this, it helps Russia in this way. It keeps attention away from what's happening in Ukraine. So they're probably doing some really nefarious things right now. But everybody's talking about, obviously, Trump and what he's doing. And it was said that he talked to Putin. Putin was actually encouraging him to attack Greenland or say those things. Because if Putin is doing that in Ukraine, America's talking about attacking Greenland. We're working with Ben Netanyahu to attack Iran. Obviously, Putin doesn't look so bad all of a sudden, because America, big bad America, or America, the home of the free, democracy, is attacking these countries. So Putin is just falling in line with the American powers. So that's how I see it.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. And for Trump, it's the Epstein Island. Trump wants to get away from that. And I think Putin got the goods on him, just like Bibi Netanyahu has the goods on him. And I think Trump has been compromised for such a long time, because if you go back to the 90s, you go back, Russia they've been cultivating Trump for a long time. And remember, Putin is a former KGB agent. Okay. Yeah. That's equivalent to like the CIA here and stuff like that. So this guy's really trained on manipulation, flattery. Like, he really has a psychological profile on Donald Trump. They know what gets this guy going. They know his flattery. They know his money. They know his power, corruption, and they just feed it to him. And you're right, Matt. I mean, this is probably the most compromised president we've ever seen in our history. And again, our troops are in harm's way. And the funny part about this, and I'll say this and I'll move on to the next subject. I was talking to a MAGA person a couple of days ago, and I sent them a link, and I just kind of really tell him how this was happening, how Russia, Putin, was sending information to Iran to help target U.S. troops, and he just brushed it off. And I'm like, I thought y'all was for the troops. I thought y'all was for patriotism, the flag, Americans, and troops. And guess what? There's another sham, right? They obviously don't care about our military. So moving along, we're going to talk a little bit about what other people feel about Trump and how Trump is compromised. This is Joe Walsh, and this is a former Republican who no longer Republican, and he explained why he feels that Trump is compromised. Play the clip, Josh.
The President of the United States knows that Russia is helping Iran kill our service members, kill American troops, and Trump refuses to condemn Russia, refuses to condemn Putin. He works for Putin. Of that, there is no doubt. Life's too short. Quit fucking beating around the bush. Donald Trump works for Putin. He's a traitor. And I know these things are often hard to wrap your arms around with Trump, because Trump is the personification of all things bad. So to call the President of the United States a traitor to this country, man, oh man, that's a horrible thing to say. That's a horrible claim to make, but I dare you, respectfully, to deny it.
Okay. All right. Matt, what's your take on that?
Man, first of all, I want to say that. But I will say this, and this is me.
Hold on. Yeah.
I'll be completely honest, bro. And this is me being completely honest in the current state of America. I don't think it even matters anymore, because I don't think it stops with Trump. I think a lot of the senators, a lot of Congress, people in Congress are compromised too. And I don't think it stops with Trump. And I think they will do whatever they can to cover all of this up. I mean, it's probably much deeper than what we really think. It probably cuts way deeper. That's probably why they didn't even release it. And a lot of them are compromised, right? You always talk about this deep state. A lot of this deep state exists in the GOP. A lot of the worst parts of the deep state that we talk about. And then they won't come after Trump because they don't want to get exposed. So nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen, right? Nothing's going to happen. I think that's the sad part about it. What's your thoughts, bro?
Well, yeah, I agree with that. And, you know, you think about Lindsey Graham, one of the most compromised person, and Mike Johnson, all these little losers, bro. I know you can't stand Mike Johnson.
You know, every time I see
he's-
Mike Johnson, man, I'd be
Look
like,
at your goofy ass.
Right, because he is just goofy. These are just goof troops, bro. Like, let's just call it for what it is. And the sad part about it is, again, we got a few hundred people holding up a country that's like 346 million of us here. You got a couple of hundred people that's holding the country back.
Yeah.
And you know, I want to go to this next clip because this is Joe Rogan, and you know it's bad when Joe Rogan turned on you, right? Joe Rogan had something to say about all this. Play the clip, Josh.
Saying based on what he ran on. I mean, this is why a lot of people feel betrayed, right? He ran on no more wars and these stupid, senseless wars, and then we have one that we can't even really clearly define why we did it. Thing made any sense to me. The Venezuela thing, I mean, look, they wanted him out forever, and he definitely stole the election to get in there in the first place, and he was a dictator, but at least that one was at least clean. They go in, kidnap him, get him out. This one's nuts. Like, and what's happening in Tel Aviv, it's hard to know what's real and what's not because there's a lot of fake video going around and a lot of weird posts on X. So it's, you know, when I do peek in, it's hard to know, and you have to listen to Grok, and then Grok's dismantling a lot of the fake videos.
Mm-hmm. What are the fake videos that you're thinking of?
Okay, all right.
Eli working against that Trump again.
Yeah, I know, right? And that's so funny, that whole thing right there, Trump and Elon. And, you know, this is just crazy, Matt, because what we have here, again, we have a few hundred, you know, very powerful, successful, well, I wouldn't even say successful, but very powerful and rich people who are holding the hostage, the country. They're holding us all up. We can't have health care. We can't have roads and bridges. We can't get our student loans taken care of. We can't even focus on housing, affordable housing, all because of few hundred these old people, old men who just won't let go.
No, I agree. And I think we're saying something different with Trump. I think that it's always been documented that a lot of the very politically active wealthy started to pack the courts in the 80s. And to their credit, they were able to get the Supreme Court. So they got the Supreme Court, right? They were able to influence Congress, and they were influence both like Congress and influence the Senate. Now they were able to get the presidency. The whole rules change. The rules change, right? Now they want to put way more power in the executive power because now they're saying, "Hell, yeah, we get the courts. I mean, they still want the courts. Yeah, we get Congress and stuff, but man, if we get the presidency and put more power in there, we can save money. We don't have to pay all these different people. We can just pay the president." So I think the game is changing right now, and they're coming for the presidency while they already compromised the other two levers of the government here in the United States.
Look at your goofy ass.
No, you.
Man, it's so sad. It is sad. You're right about that. And that brings us to our last clip here. And this is Senator Elizabeth Warren. And I think she is on to something. And quite frankly, we've been told that this is going to be a quick war. We're going to get in and we're going to get out. And this is just the stupidity of Trump and his administration. These people are nothing but bluster. They sit here and say, "Oh, we're the strongest military on the planet," which we are. And shout out to our troops. If you're a troop and you listen to this, man, we rock with you. We support you. We pray for you all the time, man. But y'all probably know y'all fighting a dumb war for dumb people and maybe dying for dumb people. So that's just the funny part about it. But let's play the clip on what Elizabeth Warren had to say about this war. Play the clip, Josh.
Breaking news just moments ago, Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren spoke after leaving a briefing on the war with Iran. Listen to this.
Here we are well into the second week, and it is still the case that the Trump administration cannot explain the reasons that we entered this war, the goals we're trying to accomplish, and the methods for doing that. The one part that seems clear is that while there is no money for 15 million Americans who lost their health care, there's $1 billion a day to spend on bombing Iran.
Did they give you a cost estimate of the
No, not in this setting.
They did not give you.
Yeah, what I'm saying comes from publicly reported information.
Are you worried about how long this will drag on?
I'm very worried about how long this will drag on. We are hearing no logical estimates about when it will be over. For the Trump administration to say over and over, there's no money for health care, there's no money for child care, there's no time to pay attention to how families are paying more, but there's $1 billion a day to go to the Middle East and drop bombs on Iran for military purposes that no one can describe and that no one can explain how merely from dropping bombs from the air we will accomplish those ends. No more money.
Ooh, Matt, what's your take on that?
Well, I hear Elizabeth Warren, right? And I think the problem is you have a huge part of the American population that's checked out. It's like having a spouse and you see something egregious happening in a relationship and you say something to that person and they just be like, oh, yeah. And you kind of know, like, okay, I see what's about to happen. You about to get mollywopped by this issue. And you make a choice. You say, nah, I ain't about to have that happen to me. And that's what's happening to American people. They're reaching out to American population where a good chunk is kind of like, whatever happens, happens. But I'm going to say this and zoom in on me. If you're okay with the BS, if you're okay with all this, I'm not going to be around you. If you're okay with losing, I don't want to be around you. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to hear about how your day is going. And if your health care is gutted and you voted for this, you start complaining, suffer in silence. I don't care because you don't care enough to do anything about it. And that's going to be the mantra that a lot of people have to take. It's like, if you vote for this and you double down on this, I don't care about the consequences. Now, if you didn't vote for this and you didn't want this, or if you voted for this and you didn't know what was happening, I feel free. I get it. But if you double down on this stuff, shame on you, and you deserve what's coming to you because you have harshness for your fault. I'm sorry, bro. I know I'm going in.
Right on, Matt. Right on, man. Right on. Yeah. You want to, man, you actually said a lot. You said a lot. Yeah. So I appreciate you saying that. You want to finish up what you were saying? I'm sorry about that.
Oh, no, I'm just sitting there saying we have to understand that. I think Elizabeth Warren is trying to plead to the American people. Look what they're doing. But a good chunk is going to be like, who cares? Oh, whatever. You know, until that burden breaks their back.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. And I'll close with this because I see this all the time. Like, people are just indifferent. You know, Again, 100 million people decided not to vote in the last election, 2024. 100 million people. That's a lot of people who said, I got better things to do. And then those are the same people that you hear complain about gas prices, all the stuff that we see with healthcare and the roads and bridges and all the other things, and the job layoffs, the massive layoffs there. And again, you have to participate in your own rescue. And that's basically what we're saying here, because your non-participatory behavior is impacting the whole country. So if you are a person who never voted or don't vote or a low information voter and you're watching this video, you can't do that no more, okay? Please, I implore you to get active. I'm not saying you got to be following politics 24/7, ins and out, but you got to know the baseline material of who is going to fight for you, what laws are going to be passed, what policies are going to impact you in a positive way. And you also have to know the villains out there, because we do have political villains out here like a Donald Trump. So last thing you want to say, Matt?
No, man, I said everything.
All right. As custom, guys, we going to hit you with our national salute. Let's get started. Shame. All right, everybody, welcome. Well, not welcome, but thank you so much for watching our video. Hit that like button, that subscribe button. We're on our way to 500 subs, and we'll see you guys in the next video.
Thank you.